In 2011, a group of college students interviewed several elders on the Navajo Nation. This is just one of their stories.
In siya aya Mitzie Begay siya. Ado aya but ane aya nshlo ashe e pasischin. Ke ane aya dashe topa aya dashanala kota aya sanin shla.
Mitzie's early life was a time of education and learning.
My mother was a cook, a baker, a seamstress, and a laundress. My father was a bus driver, auto mechanic, heavy equipment, and just jack of all trades. And they had 5 girls. The next one is my sister that was here just the other day. And she's about 3 years older than I am. And then I'm the 3rd one, and then I have 2 more younger sisters, and I have 1 brother. When my parents were working for Bureau of Indian Affairs, as long as they were working for Bureau of Indian Affairs, we couldn't go to the boarding school. And in those days, they just had 1-room public school, just in spots, not all over the reservation. So we 3 older ones, my oldest sister, 2 older sisters and I, we were sent to Ganado. That's just about 30 miles from Winter Rock, west. And it was a Presbyterian mission school. So I went to school there from 4th grade and finished 12th grade. And then both of my sisters graduated from there too. And from there, I went to Haskell and did 1 year. One evening, my dad came on a Friday evening and says, "You're going to chaperone Navajo students to Haskell. And you're going to be working there half a day, and you're going to go to school half a day." Sunday, my dad took me out to Chimley. And there were Greyhound buses, and we loaded up the kids. 10 years old, can you imagine? They didn't know how to speak English. And then we got into Haskell. And come to find out, it was a full day being with the students because they didn't know how to speak English. And here they told us that I was going to finish my education, and it never happened. When we finished the 3rd year, then I was set to, you had no choice, you know, they sent me to Intermountain. I really didn't like it. So then I told my parents, I said, I really don't like Intermountain. I want to come home. He says, if you want to come home, you think you're just going to come home and lay around. You have to find a job first.
Spirituality is an important aspect of Navajo culture. Mitzie maintains Christian beliefs as well as traditional Navajo beliefs.
My mother and my dad, and we were raised Catholic. But then when, with education, there was St. Michael's there. But for whatever reason, my dad put us at Ganado, which was Presbyterian. And then just around about the 60s, the Pentecost Christianity came about on the reservation. And we used to go to church there a lot, and I like singing, and they dance around and, all that, And I think I got dipped in water, I don't remember. But anyway, my dad says, "What are you trying to do to yourself, But when you're young, you just about do everything, but I always stuck with my traditional, and then I finally went back to my old traditional. I always say that I don't condone to any denomination whatsoever, because we all believe in one God. God is the creator. And then from the traditional aspect, the holy people, the creator and the holy people are the disciples of the creator. And then from the Bible it says, that Jesus had disciples too. So it almost coincides with it. Why we want to separate it is beyond me, but I don't condone to it because I'm not God. So I got my education from Christian school. I've met a lot of people, been all over, meeting different denominations. We prayed together, and then being here, I'm always going to be at the net person. There's no way that I will ever become a Belagana. When I say Ke, your Yeni is very important, relation is very important. Whoever you establish Ke with, like today, we have connected, reconnected, because she's a Salt Clan, and I'm born to Salt Clan. And even though she's younger than I am, she took me in as her daughter. So that's the Ke that we have established, and it's going to stick with us for the rest of our life until death does us part. And that's the way I believe. When I say some Ke to someone, my relation to someone, whether they're my daughter, niece, granddaughter, cousin, father, whatever it may be, that's going to stay with me forever. And that's just the way I believe. And I teach my children the same way. My grandchildren, when you see people, always shake hands, you know. And even teach that little 16-month-old. Shake hands. And sometimes he's shy, another time he'll shake hands. But if you keep on being consistent, teaching them, that teaching will be instilled in them, and they'll always carry it on. I did a lot of puberty ceremony. People, parents, grandparents would request of me to make the cake for the Kinota. And that I have been doing for many, many years. At first I used to just tie the hair, be the mentor to the Kinota, teaching her what the do's and don'ts are, how to carry yourself as a young woman throughout her life. In July, I fractured my hip. So when there's a foreign object in your body, or you're kind of there's a disability of some sort, you really shouldn't tie a young girl's hair, because you want that person to be holistic and be in harmony. And I also have to be in that shape too. But if I can't bend over, I can't kneel down, I can't put my feet under me, you know, like when you're washing her hair, I really can't bend way over when I'm massaging her and all that. So I'm hindering her. And a lot of people don't take this into consideration, but I do. For that reason, I don't tie hair no more. I just tell them I can't. I want the best of everything for the Kinota, so I can do the cake.
At Fort Defiance Hospital, Mitzie helps to bridge the gap between traditional beliefs and Western medicine.
At the present time, my job title is cross-cultural liaison. And I do a lot of orientation to all the new staff, medical staff, nurses, all the professional people, plus, you know, every employee that comes, you know, to work there. I talk about the cultural ways and the traditional ways of our Diné people. And from the medical standpoint, you know, I always emphasize to them when they do see patients to always say hello, yate, put your hands out and shake hands. That's where you establish that relationship between the patient and the professional person that's providing services to the patient. When the patient is told that they have these type of serious medical problems, any foreign object touches your body, you're no longer in harmony and holistic. For this reason, they always ask the physician if they could go home, and they'll come back. And then the doctors would say, geez, you know, we just got through telling this patient that they're very sick, they have to have surgery, or whatever it may be. And they want to go home. What's wrong with this patient? You know, so we tell them, It's because they want to stay in harmony and holistic. So they go home and have a prayer done and they come back. Way back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they never allowed medicine people to come in to help patients. But now they do. We even have traditional practitioners on the job 8 hours a day. We have a Hogan on the north side of the hospital. I don't know if you have seen that, but maybe when you're driving back you can check. Go to the inventory or taken in a wheelchair, they'll have their ceremony there in the Hogan.
For many elderly Navajos, talking about end of life is taboo.
I begin to think back as to the 30 years that I have worked for Indian Health Service and working with patients, talking to them and hearing stories from the elderlies and as to how they said, we're going to all go some of these fine days, but not all at the same time. And some go early, some go maybe middle age, and some reach old age. And so if they were sick and they knew they had to have surgery, they would say, no, just let me go the way I am. And so even after I retired, I went back to work as a cross-cultural liaison. I began to think very seriously, I really shouldn't be afraid to talk about it because, these are the teachings that the elderlies had given. And my grandfather and my grandmother used to talk like that too, but I was so young at that time that I really didn't understand what they were talking about until I started working there at the hospital, and the medical social workers, we would all get together and, discuss. And the young ladies, felt uncomfortable too. But then one of the ladies, said, we're all going back to our Creator. We shouldn't be afraid. Let's, think of it in that way. So the majority of the elderlies always say, Shadiyan, I'm going back to my Creator. And that kind of lifted that heaviness where we just kind of opened up and began to feel free to talk to our patients about it. And they also said, these were the teaching that our elderlies and our ancestors used to talk about. And to this day, talking about death and dying, it doesn't, I'm not afraid, it doesn't bother me, I'm willing to discuss. And so sometimes some of the elderlies that are more assimilated kind of don't want to talk about it. And they always say, maybe I should talk to my children about signing the advance directive before I sign. Some of them change their mind, and then another time they would say, I'm glad that I did bring it to the attention of my children, but we're all here. Can you re-explain to us as to what advance directive is all about and what the medical durable power of attorney is? So we do this all in Navajo. And they begin to understand, and the children say, oh, that's what it was. Okay, well, that's your decision. And it is the patient's decision. It's not the children's decision. So the majority of the patients have signed their advance directive and their medical durable power of attorney. I have really been thinking for about a couple of weeks as to who will be able to do the teaching and the presentations and just helping people, willing to give yourself wholeheartedly to patience and community people, sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and your teaching to them. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm the only cross-cultural liaison on the Navajo Reservation. And Fort Defiance Hospital is the only hospital that has home-based elderly care comprehensive assessment clinic. And hopefully the other service units will begin to think seriously of putting elderly first, whereas we are here in Fort Defiance.
Beulah Allen was a doctor at Fort Defiance Hospital, as well as a friend of Mitzie's.
She just is unique. she's she's very traditional and also very modern. She's very open. You know, she will never turn down someone who wants to talk. She's open about considering the whole gamut of emotions and situations, and she has a fine sense of humor, and she's just amazing in her ability to take things in and to provide care for people in whatever situation that comes up. I've never seen her at a loss for words. I've never seen her stumped by any situation. She's absolutely remarkable and so energetic, and yeah, we'll be friends for a good long time yet.
And I always say we're very unique, because if we really feel that we're not getting any better from the Western medicine, we can always rely on our own traditional ways and our cultural ways, and that's why we're so unique as the Ne people.